Thank you for listening to Podcast West Seattle Pandemic Diaries. My name is Andrew. On this episode of Pandemic Diaries, we check in with the missing piece to hear about opening a new coffee shop during a pandemic.
There's been so much love from just the neighborhood.
We also check in with our family in quarantine.
But we do feel better. We feel like we have begun to make progress.
This is Podcast West Seattle Pandemic Diaries. As I record this, it has been 317 days since our family first began pandemic quarantine. The most recent stretch of days has included the holiday season, the New Year. It also included an attempted coup in Washington, D.C., the emergence of new, even more contagious strains of COVID-19, and thankfully, the beginning of the vaccination process.
We're on our way down to Virginia Mason to get our vaccines, COVID vaccines.
The way our six-person bubble shapes up, Grandma and Grandpa are first up for a vaccine.
They're the Moderna vaccines. Hope to be able to schedule a second shot in a month.
While we don't yet know when Elizabeth and I will be eligible for a vaccine, and the kids are even more of an uncertainty, there's no question that it feels good to have the process started.
A couple of weeks ago, we got the Moderna. We were in Federal Way at the Virginia Mason health facility there. I was very impressed by how organized everything was and how quickly it moved. And I was also impressed by the fact that in the room where we were waiting our required 15 minutes to make sure we didn't react, the nurse in there spent most of her time helping us older folks figure out how to deal with our appointments on our cell phones. I feel better. And I also feel relief that we had the appointment and that after all the commotion and trauma of trying to get an appointment, it actually all went fairly smoothly. We have not changed our preventive behavior in any way, but we do feel better. We feel like we have begun to make progress.
While we've been quarantining for the last year, coffee has seemed as important as ever. Recently, a new coffee shop opened on the south end of West Seattle at 35th and Roxbury. The missing piece is a combination coffee shop and board game store. I stopped by while Alex, one of the co-owners, was showing a couple of folks from the neighborhood around.
Hi, I'm Abby.
I'm Alex.
Alex.
Good. Abby and James. Nice to meet you. So we're a board game cafe, which means that here where I'm standing on the cafe side, where everything you'd probably expect of a coffee shop, everything that we have is locally done. So all the pastries we have in our bake case are from local bakeries. Our coffee is roasted locally by Victrola. It's delicious. And we are also a full hobby board game store. We've got lots of new games, and we also have a pretty unique feature over on the back wall. There is a used game section, and that's all done on consignment by local people in the neighborhood. So they get to set the price, and we put it up on the shelf for them, and when it sells, they get store credit.
If this type of shop sounds familiar to West Seattleites, there is a good reason.
I used to manage the Gameporium at the Uptown Espresso on Delridge, and it was great. It was the best job I ever had, and built a whole community there, and was loving it, and so were a lot of other people. And unfortunately, a couple years ago, the owner at Uptown passed away. The company was bought by Fonte, and they came in, and it's their business now. They wanted to focus on the coffee side. It just resulted in, a couple weeks, maybe a couple months of reflection and thinking about, is this something that I should really do? But Lauren worked with me there as well, and we decided, let's make it happen. Let's fill this void that's been created and kind of keep the party going.
Lauren and Alex had their eyes set on West Seattle as the location from the beginning.
We were really, really trying to find a spot in West Seattle for quite a while, because we came from the Gameporium at Delridge, and we have so many people that already live in West Seattle that we knew would be a good, solid starting base for us as a customer base. So it was tough to find a spot in West Seattle that had enough room to be able to have large tables that you could kind of spread out. This worked out really, really well. And to be honest, we didn't know how cool this immediate neighborhood was until we actually opened. And then we saw all the people that, lived a few blocks this way, a few blocks that way, and talking about how they've been waiting for something to show up here. And there's been so much love from just the neighborhood, and it's been really surprising and really encouraging.
We have been looking, I looked on the website today for the first
We were
time.
driving by and we saw the lights
Yeah,
on.
that was mine. Backwell is the consignment used game. So
Yeah,
we can
they-
bring in a gently used game.
Yeah, well, before you bring it in, go to our website and fill out the little form saying what you want to bring.
Okay.
And we will let you know when it's good to bring in. We haven't refused anybody's game yet.
Right.
But they might look deceiving because we shrink wrap them. That's just because they're not ours and we don't want people messing with it.
Sure.
The kind of offshoots of the classic games, like we've sold a lot of, Boggle and Clue and those kinds of
fun.
games that people bring in. And also puzzles are off the hook right now.
Oh, I know.
We can't keep them in stock, and thankfully a lot of people don't like to build the same puzzle twice.
It's obviously a tricky time to be opening a store that encourages people to sit together at a table to play games. I asked Alex about opening during the pandemic and what the store will look like post-pandemic.
When COVID's all finally over with, we'll also have chairs in here, and we'll have a free-to-play game library so you can come in and hang out, get some snacks and food and drink, and play some new games. All the tables will be reservable, and we try to do some unique stuff. Like we've got a table here with the Lazy Susan on it. If that's, if a table fits your needs better, you can book it. And then we also have private rooms in the back that you'll be able to book by the hour for game night or a birthday party or office meeting or whatever it is you want to do. So we signed our lease in October, end of October 2019. And our landlord's great. We worked out a deal with him after the pandemic started. We had passed the point of no return, so there was no going back, and here we are. Coming up with cleaning policies, and we decided to put off our game library. That was going to be like one of the foundational things of our store. Is that we want to have a huge game library, and it's not here yet because it's not safe enough. So.
My next question is, will you have beer?
Yes, that was a part of our plan. It's another change we made because there's been so many extra restrictions for
Sure.
COVID if you serve beer. So we're going to have beer and wine bottled when all this is over with. And that way we'll have even more things to offer for the evening crowd.
Fun. Did you like coffee?
Like wide, like a spice.
Century Spice Latte?
Yes, please.
That is a chai latte. Yeah, we wanted to have some stuff on our menu where it was kind of a blend of the games and the cafe. So Century Spice Latte is a take on the game Century Spice Road. And hopefully it's the first of many specialty drinks that we offer that aren't found anywhere else. Well, once you get hooked on these Century Spice Lattes, I'm sure we'll see you every day.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Alex, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for stopping in.
Good to see you.
It's looking good. Like I think it's gonna go really well.
Thanks, Alex. The Missing Piece is located at 9456 35th Avenue, Southwest, on the corner of 35th and Roxbury. They are currently open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, but hope to be staying open later as in-person seating returns. That wraps up this episode of Podcast West Seattle Pandemic Diaries. If you enjoy Podcast West Seattle, be sure to share it with a friend. You can also connect with the podcast on Facebook or visit podcastwestseattle.com. Until next time, stay healthy and stay safe.